Hi, Smart News. We have a couple quick hits for you today, a smattering of different stories from allegations of a hijacked plane in Europe to news from the CDC on COVID-19 here at home and a little reflection on the unique time and place that we share together. So let's get started with that big story out of Europe. I want to connect the dots a little bit on this for you. So here's how the story stands today. On Sunday, there was a plane that was flying from Greece all the way up to Lithuania. And when that plane crossed over the airspace of Belarus, the plane was contacted by air traffic control that said that there was a bomb on board the plane and that the plane had to divert to the capital city in Belarus. Sitting on board that plane was a 26-year-old young man who's sometimes described as a journalist, sometimes described as an activist aligned with those opposing the current government in Belarus. So the plane lands. There's no bomb found on board, and this young man is arrested by the government of Belarus. Now, European leaders are outraged about this. They say that this plane was effectively hijacked by the government of Belarus, that this is state-sponsored terrorism because this was a group of innocent people on board this plane put at risk for this diversion that seems politically motivated. Now, I want you to take a look at where Belarus is on the map. To the right of this map, there's a big green area. That's Russia. Belarus used to be part of the Soviet Union, and the current leader in Belarus has been in power nearly 27 years. He's closely aligned with Vladimir Putin. So when we're talking about Belarus, we're talking about an ally of Russia, and we do have news on Russia today. President Biden is set to meet face-to-face with Vladimir Putin next month in Switzerland. This is a brand new announcement from the White House, and apparently the president is going to discuss this hijacking along with a host of other issues like cyber attacks. Now, just a little context. Remember, President Biden was vice president during the Obama administration. At the beginning of the Obama administration, there was talk of resetting relations with Russia, which the Obama administration received criticism for. The Trump administration received criticism for being too soft, too casual with Russia. So there's a big question about the tone that will be set at this meeting and whether or not this meeting should actually be taking place, as some lawmakers are raising that question as well. So this is a story to watch. In the meantime, this young man, this 26-year-old, remains in custody in Belarus. In the meantime, back here at home, a little news on COVID-19. Moderna came out and said that their COVID-19 vaccine is effective for those 12 and older, and they're going to be applying for emergency use authorization. So we could potentially have 2 vaccines on the market that would be available to those 12 and older. What about those younger than 12? Well, what you should know is that trials are underway currently over the last several weeks for those 6 months to 11 years old. So we don't have an answer yet on that, but the trials are happening. And by the way, Pfizer is also in clinical trials on the first of its kind oral antiviral pill. So I don't want to keep tunnel vision on Pfizer and Moderna, but these are the 2 big players in the market when it comes to vaccines at this time. And so I just want you aware of a couple developments there. In the meantime, we have a new report from the CDC on breakthrough infections. These are people that were vaccinated that later tested positive for COVID-19. And this is looking at a big chunk of time from January 1st to the end of April. During that time, the CDC says that there were 101 million people fully vaccinated. And of that 101 million, about 10,000 breakthrough infections were recorded, just above 10,000. Of those more than 10,000 cases, 60% of the cases were female. The median age was 58. Just over 1 in 4 were completely asymptomatic, but that means about 75% were symptomatic, although we don't get the specifics. We do know about 1 out of 10 of those breakthrough cases were hospitalized, and there were some deaths attributed to COVID-19 amongst those that were vaccinated. The median age for those individuals was 82 years old. So why does this matter? We're getting some real life data on what the vaccine looks like, how it's actually functioning in the wild amongst the American public. And the CDC says these breakthrough cases should be expected. But this is also notable because the CDC is changing the way that it's going to be monitoring some of this data. So they're not going to be monitoring asymptomatic cases. They're going to be monitoring the most severe cases, those hospitalized or those who die, who are breakthrough cases, because they say those have the broader public health implications. So we'll be watching for more information on that. One final story I want to flag for you. We did a special report on some of the changes that have transpired on a local, state, and federal level after the death of George Floyd, which occurred exactly 1 year ago today. And I stumbled upon something that I thought you would find interesting. According to one research firm, the protests that took place in the aftermath of Floyd's death are believed to be some of the largest in all of American history. I say believe because it's difficult to say definitively, But it's also just important to note for perspective. When we feel like we've lived through history over the last year, this is just one example, and it's still very much a developing story, as are so many others in this unique time that we share together. Thank you for trusting us. Questions and comments, let me know. And as always, more on smarternews.com.